Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be sharing how I lesson plan for our homeschool week. Since I took a little break off of YouTube, most of you probably don't know that I am currently homeschooling my 5, almost 6-year-old daughter. We started mid-year through her kindergarten year and it has been so wonderful. So I'm a couple of months in and I've got a pretty good lesson planning routine down. I'm also not using any specific curriculum at the moment because we started mid-year and I really didn't want to purchase an entire curriculum. So we'll be starting fresh with that next year, and as of right now I'm creating my own lesson plans for her for our kindergarten work. I usually lesson plan every Sunday, but since this past weekend was Easter, today's Monday, we're getting a little bit more of a break here, and I only really have to lesson plan for 3 days this week, but I will show you how I lesson plan for an entire week and what that usually looks like for us. Before we get started, please don't forget to subscribe. I would love for you guys to stick around, maybe see some more homeschool content if this is something that you guys enjoy. Give this video a thumbs up before we get started, and let's get into lesson planning. Things that I am using to lesson plan. My laptop. I have a binder here that I have organized into every day of the week that I'll show you like how I organize out all of our activities and worksheets for the week, and my phone and a printer, and that is all that I have been using to lesson plan. As I said, I'm not following any specific curriculum. Everything that we do, I basically just come up with myself, and it has been working, but it does take a little bit more outsourcing since I don't have a curriculum right in front of me telling what to do. I kind of have to figure out what I want to do for the week, source the internet and find different like free worksheets and available things. But the thing with homeschool is it is very freeing. You don't have to sit and stare at a worksheet all day long. You don't have to do worksheets every day or sit in a specific book. A lot of our homeschooling has to do with outside exploring, has to do with me just talking to her. We read a lot of books. We have our whiteboard. A lot of the time our lessons are just like right on my whiteboard and I'm showing her something and she's just following along. I really don't dive like too deep. I try to keep it very simplistic, and I feel like that's the key. But I am going to print out some worksheets here, show you how I organize everything, what I end up printing out, and what our homeschool week is going to look like this week. Since it's a shorter week, I'm only planning 3 days of homeschool for this week. One of my favorite websites to find free worksheets is Teachers Pay Teachers. I made an account, and then you can search for whatever you like. Say I'm searching for like spring kindergarten worksheets. You just search that in and then scroll down to, you can pick your grade, and then you can also just scroll down to this left like category bar, click on free, and it will show you all of the free worksheets that are offered to you. I also forgot to show you my lesson planner. I got this off of Amazon. It's not my favorite, but it is very affordable and it works for now. There's a calendar overview in the very front for your month, but what I use is just the daily schedule, so all of your subjects to the side and then what you want to do that day, and then I just use 5 of these little things a week, but this week I'm only going to need 3. So starting where I left off, I write our subjects for the week. We do math, reading, and phonics, which I kind of combined into one, handwriting, science, and art. So looking at where we left off last week, we've been talking about adding, subtraction, missing numbers in like a sequence. I think this week I want to, for math, touch on before, middle, and after numbers, because that is something that I feel like we need to work on. So number sequencing. So I am going to look up some worksheets for that, just right on Teachers Pay Teachers. It gives you an overview of the worksheet that you choose, and I feel like this would be a good worksheet for us. So I am going to download that. I save all of them to my downloads just to print for later. If you're asking yourself the question, especially if you're thinking about homeschooling, okay, where do you know where to start? Like, how do you know where to start in the school year and the curriculum? I do have a like downloadable kindergarten checklist, an end of year checklist. And what I did is I looked up one of those checklists myself online. You can just find things that like teachers will say are things to touch on throughout the year of kindergarten. It's a very like basic list. And you can do this for any grade, of course, pre-K through elementary school through high school. Looked at that list. I saw where she was when she like left her school, when we pulled her from school. And then I also saw like what are some things that I feel like she might not know yet or might need more touching on, and I just started from there. So I'll leave the link to that downloadable like checklist in the description. Get that, see like what your kid knows and what your kid needs to work on. start from there, pick some worksheets from there and say, okay, like we need to work on addition and subtraction. Let's dive into some worksheets. Let's do some counting with some blocks or even toys or anything. Like we used little like checkers to start with, like adding and subtraction, and I just gave her 5 checkers and then 2 more and showed her how it equals 7. Simple things like that. I would write it down in my homeschool planner. I would write it down under math, and that would be our math lesson for the day. So right now what I'm doing is just finding some like worksheets and just figuring out what I want to do, and if I think of an activity that I want to do along with that, that will also go in my planner, and then I will get all my materials and things that I need, whether they need printed out or what, gathered for the week. Another good tip I have for you guys is take like your surroundings, things going on in your life, such as like Easter just passed. Last week I made our whole week Easter theme. I think picking themes is great. Picking like certain unit studies is great. We did mammals one week, and I kind of just made our whole week about animals and things like that. Right now spring is a great thing to do. Pick a week and make it all about spring. Make all of your math about spring and how to involve nature and spring into each of your subjects. We've done, you know, St. Patrick's Day, whatever, like if there's a holiday coming up. Earth Day is coming up in April, so we are gonna take that week to do a lot of Earth Day things and involve it into our math, art, and all of that. So that's like a really good tip that I have. If that helps you like start somewhere, like what am I looking for on the internet, just type in spring worksheets and I guarantee you'll find a ton of worksheets and activities to do with your kid that you can just make into a day of homeschooling. Last week, for example, we also talked about the water cycles, so I made a lot of our worksheets have to do with water droplets, like counting water droplets to add them, things like that. I think I'm gonna keep the water cycle incorporate it into our week this week, since we had kind of a short week last week as well before Easter. So I think we're gonna on Wednesday for science, I'm gonna make a water cycle experiment that I wanted to do last week but we never got to. For reading and phonics this week, we're going to work on AI words. So I found these freebies here, and I just picked a few pages to break up throughout the week, and we're going to talk about AI and some sight words that have AI in the middle. I just found this worksheet / activity on Teachers Pay Teachers. It was free, and I want to show you guys an example of what I would do for reading. So this came together. It's a planting seeds song. You sing it to the tune of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and I would have her read this herself because this does seem like something that is on her level. So that covers reading for us. I don't have to like pick out a book or anything. And then to go along with it, there's a planting seeds sequencing activity. So I'm gonna print these out on cardstock and cut them out. And then as we go, we're gonna read the song, order these as we read the song again. So that is something that we're gonna do for reading and phonics. And that's just a quick example of something that it would be like our reading and phonics lesson, and I just happened to stumble upon that. I think once we finish up with our water cycle experiment on Wednesday, we're gonna go into plants. So this might be something that would be good for science on Thursday. And what I can also do to go along with that, I'm gonna write that down on science. I'm gonna look up a YouTube video about that, and then we're gonna do this worksheet. It's all about just being creative and coming up with ideas. So that is gonna go there. I can look up some more plant life cycle things. I'm also trying to think about how to incorporate plants into art this week. I try to do like 2 art projects a week. This week we're gonna do 1 on Friday, and I'm gonna just go on Pinterest, look up something that we can do involving plants, teaching about plants, but for art. Picking out my last math activity for the week. We're probably gonna do this on Friday, but this is a roll-in cover sheet, and I use these all the time. I'll show you guys kind of how we use them. You can look them up on the internet anywhere. They're just called roll-in cover, and you basically just use them as a game board, and you can use them in any way you want. This week, what I'm gonna do is have her roll a number and then tell me the number that comes before that number and after that number, so that we can continue on with our number sequencing. You can do subtraction. You can even do these with words. We've done them with like sight words because some of them will come with like words on them. So whatever you are like looking for in that week to teach, these are great, and the kids like love them. Sophia loves them. You print it out, we're gonna roll our die. She's gonna get a number and we're gonna say, okay, tell me the number that comes before that number and the number that comes after, so that she kind of learns that number line concept. So it's gonna be Friday's activity, garden roll and cover, and I usually just try to pick one that goes with our theme. We're doing kind of like plants and outdoors this week, so thought the garden would be great. So garden roll and cover for Friday. I'm just gonna look for some more handwriting sheets. I just try to focus on handwriting a couple of times a week. Been really focusing on sentence writing and parts of a sentence, so this is actually perfect. And we're gonna do this on Wednesday. All right, so next step, I've got all of my lesson planning done for the week. Since I only have 3 days, it was pretty easy. I've got math, reading, phonics, handwriting, science, and art for one of the days this week, because we're only going to do one art project. What do I do now? So I've got everything that I looked up, downloaded. I've got everything written down. Some of the things I might not need worksheets for, but I need like my die, things like that. So I'm going to print out all of the worksheets, put them in order of which days I need them. It's gonna get all of my worksheets and activities together and my supplies for the week. So we've got to head to the printer and get that going, and then I'll show you how I organize everything in my binder so that I can find everything that I'm looking for. I just got this huge binder from Target. I have these page slips, so I just printed out like basic Monday through Friday, and then I have the Monday slip. Behind it I have an empty slip, and this is where I'm going to put all of her worksheets and activities for that day. So same for the rest of the week. So once I organize all of her papers, that's how I organize it, so that way, you know, when the day comes, this week we're starting on Wednesday. I'm gonna go to Wednesday, I'm going to put all of her papers for Wednesday in here once I organize them, and for Thursday and Friday, and so on. And it just makes it so simple for me to have, and that way I'm not scrambling to find every single worksheet and what exactly I'm looking for that day. Another thing I wanted to mention is before we start any of her work for the week, Monday through Friday, before we start math, reading, anything, we do her morning menu, and I'll actually link the Etsy that I got this morning menu from. I've gotten so many people on board with this on my other platforms because it really is such an awesome like thing to do. It's a downloadable like print on Etsy, and I just got a binder and put all of the worksheets in it. So you have your morning binder, she writes her name there, the month of April, and it does give you like every single month. So we haven't done school since last Tuesday because she was on Easter break, so we'll be starting up again Wednesday. So we have to fill in all of our calendar days, and then she writes the day of the week, the month, she has to write it all out. And then we also do like the time of day. We've been learning time, and she's been doing really well with that. So every morning we write what time we start, whether we're doing it in the morning or the afternoon. Also does her weather for the day, and then the next page is actually like practicing her address, phone numbers, and birthday, which I'm obviously not going to show you, but every morning I ask her, okay, what is your name? What is your address? What is your mom and dad's phone number? And what is your birthday? Just like emergency information, so that's something good to practice. But on the weather sheet, we just do like, what is the weather today? I let her know the temperature on, like, I just look it up on my phone, and then we already know what season we're in. Do every single day, and it has worked so well. She loves it. She knows as soon as we sit down for our homeschool day, she gets this binder out, gets her little expo marker, and she goes. And again, these papers, just slip them into a little like paper binder slip so that she can write on them, and then we can wipe it off. So they are reusable. If you guys do want a like in-depth homeschool day routine, I can show you that, just showing you how we homeschool from start to finish. I have posted those videos on like my TikToks. It kind of gives like a glimpse into what a homeschool day looks like. It only takes us about an hour every day, and that's pretty much as far as I'll go, is an hour to an hour and 10 minutes tops, because that's all she needs since we're focusing one-on-one. But if you guys want like a homeschool with me type day and our routine and what it looks like exactly, I'll be happy to film that video for you guys as well. But let's go print out all of the papers that I just downloaded onto my computer, and I'll show you guys how I organize it, and let's finish up this lesson planning. I do try and go in order of what I wrote in my planner. Like I try to print out Monday's worksheets first, Tuesday's worksheets second, but it doesn't always work out that way. So I kind of just print everything out, and then I'll have like 5 piles laid out, 3 actually this week since we're only doing Wednesday through Friday, and then I'll organize them into those piles. So hopefully that makes sense. I'll show you. I've got Wednesday's pile here. Here is the start of Thursday. And then I've got one thing for Friday so far. All right, I got everything printed out. I'm just gonna go through my planner. I'm gonna look at Wednesday, for example. I've got my number sequencing worksheet. I've got my AI word worksheet. I've got my spring sentence writing, and then we are gonna do a water cycle experiment, so I don't have to print that. Go on to my next day. I've got my frog numbers worksheets. I've got my, this should be in here, planting song, plant life cycle, which we're going to watch a video for. And then Friday, I've got my roll-in cover for math. I've got my AI worksheet. I've got my plants handwriting worksheet that I'm going to do parts of a plant for science, and then we're going to do our art project. And there we have it. I've got this short week of school's work, but even if this was a full week, this is exactly what I would do. This whole lesson planning process takes me about an hour. Like I said, I usually take Sunday and I will sit down for my hour, go on my computer, figure out what I want to do, kind of just brainstorm what I want to focus on that week, print out some worksheets, figure out some lessons, figure out some activities that I want to do, figure out if I want to do a theme for that week, specifically for science, if I want to take our day outside. And since we're doing plants, I might like let her look outside at plants and like let her feel them and touch them and look at them, let her know that they're alive. Simple things like that I can throw into our lesson planning week, but this is just a basic out plan of what we are doing for homeschool this week. I hope this video maybe gave you some lesson planning inspo, or if you're new to homeschooling, maybe an idea of what you could do, especially if you're looking for a no curriculum homeschool style, or if you have a younger child, maybe preschool into like 1st grade, and you really don't want to splurge on the curriculum yet because it really isn't needed. This could hopefully potentially be a helpful video to you guys. Let me know if it was. Give me a thumbs up if it was. And let me know in the comments if you want to see more homeschooling content. We are now ready for a homeschool week, and I hope you guys are too. We've been enjoying homeschooling so much, both my kindergartner and I, and it's been really great for us. So let me know if you guys are homeschool moms too as well in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye everyone.